I know you're not here to listen to me, so I'll keep this one very short. But this is a very special episode for myself. Why? Because this is my teacher, Fadilatul Sheikh Galal Salem Al-Azhari min Misr, from Egypt, who is based in the UK now. I would say he's definitely one of the top teachers in the UK, and alhamdulillah, I've had the ability to take 4 ijazat from him, three, Hafs, Shu'bah, Warsh, and I've started Qalun as well. So the Sheikh is very humble and very down to earth, as you'll probably realize in the video, in the episode. And wallahi, the gems that he puts out in this short episode, 30 minutes, it can be life-changing. So listen with an open mind as always. But wallahi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from the Sheikh, and I hope this episode is a means of many people, all of you, the listeners, make special dua for the Sheikh, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from him and grant him all the happiness and success in this life and the hereafter. نسأل الله القبول والإخلاص. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. فضيلة الشيخ, how are you?
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. شيخ عمر, كيف حالك؟
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. How's everything? How's the morning been?
Alhamdulillah, fine. Alhamdulillah, it's better than yesterday. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Sheikh, it might go a bit blurry, but that's fine, because afterwards it'll sort itself out, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Okay, Sheikh. So I know you're very short of time. We have half an hour, inshallah. Just wanted to, learn a bit more about yourself and allow others to learn from you and gain some inspiration and motivation from yourself as well, inshallah. So tell us, when did you come to the UK? You were born in Egypt, right?
Yeah, I am from a village. It's called Dahtura. Dahtura Zift Gharbiya. I'm from Egypt. My age is 52 years now. I came to the UK in 2010, about 13 years ago.
Okay, mashallah. And this village of yours, is it near Cairo, or where exactly? Which part of Egypt?
No, it's between Cairo and Alexandria, in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, and the city is called Tanta.
I've heard of this. I've heard of this place.
Tanta?
I think so, yeah. As in, I've heard of the Sheikh Tantawi or something like that.
No, Sheikh Tantawi is from Said, but his name is Tantawi. Yeah, no, it's his name, only his name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, mashallah. So you completed your Hifth in Egypt. Tell us a bit more about your experience and what age you completed. If I'm not mistaken, I remember you mentioned you completed at a later age, right? Not when you were young.
No, I wasn't young when I completed the Quran, because I tried many times before when I was a child, but the environment around me wasn't really, it didn't help. But when I was 22, alhamdulillah, I managed to complete the Quran in very short time, alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Sheikh, tell us how many months or years? If I'm not mistaken, it was months, right? And I think it'll be quite beneficial.
Around 7 months, yeah, alhamdulillah.
7 months, subhanallah. So you started at the age of 21 and finished at 22.
22 and finished the same year. Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Well, that's really amazing, mashallah. So can you tell us a bit more about your experience?
No, I want to mention that it's not something amazing, or not. It's not really a very, very short time, because I heard some people finish the Quran in only 2 months. 2 months. So they used to memorize 10 pages every day. So every 2 days, 1 juz. So it's not impossible or difficult to memorize the Quran. You need just to have a good environment around you, and you need a good plan to start memorizing the Quran, and also a good company around you.
Yep.
So it's not
Exactly.
difficult, really.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's not.
and I think you, yeah, I think in the UK, I think the average is about 3 years, you would say, and everyone thinks memorizing. I think amongst the Asians, I think maybe we think it's very difficult to memorize the Quran, but as you say, it's not. It's not exactly difficult, right? If you have a plan, as you say.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the important thing, you have to learn how to read, how to recite the Quran first, well, with tajweed, because a lot of people, I've seen that a lot of people start memorizing the Quran without reading the ayahs or the words very well, and it's stuck in their minds. This way, when they memorize the words wrongly, the mistakes will stay with them for a long time, unless if they try hard to correct the mistakes. But my advice is really to learn how to recite first, and learn the rules of tajweed, and then start. It will be easy. It will help you to memorize the Quran easily, inshallah.
Inshallah. So okay, so it's important to spend more time learning how to read properly and then moving on to the hifth. There's no rush.
Yes,
Yani.
yes. Because a lot of people, they have this understanding that they start memorizing. It doesn't matter the mistakes
Yep.
they make when they memorize, and then they will say, when we finish, we'll learn how to recite with tajweed. But this is a massive mistake. This is a massive mistake.
It's what I did as well. I completed at a young age, but when I finished, my
You will suffer for
hifth, my
years.
tajweed was very bad. So
Yeah, and you will need a longer time to fix the mistakes and correct your mistakes in tajweed, and even the pronunciation of the words and the letters.
okay. Sheikh, another question for you is how many ajza do you try to recite per day, or do you advise a student of Hifth to recite every day? And so how many juz, and then what's the technique throughout the day? How should one sort of plan the day? What's the best times? And
I'm not going to talk about myself. My advice is at least one juz every day. At least one juz every day, and don't let the month finish 30 days without finishing all the Quran. So even if you find it at the beginning difficult, you can start with shorter amount of ayahs, and then you increase it with the time till you find it easy, and make it habit for you to memorize, to recite all the Quran, or to finish all the Quran reading, even by looking, no problem. If you're not hafiz, or you can read or recite the Quran by looking, but at least once every month. And we have famous words in Arabic. We say al-qira'atu waqud al-hifz. Al-qira'atu waqud al-hifz means it will push you and help you and make it easy for you to, when you start the journey of hifz, you will find it very easy, because you recite these ayahs every month. So when you come back to the hifz, you will find it easy. But if you leave it, and for example, some people, they recite the Quran once every Ramadan, only Ramadan. Yeah, Ramadan is the month of the Quran, and it's very important to recite the Quran in Ramadan, but it's not only Ramadan. You have to make the Quran your company in your life. So my advice, at least one juz.
Wallah.
Yeah, and really, if you recite 3 juz, will be amazing. And if you recite more, will be better. I know some people, they recite 10 juz every day. 10 juz every day. So they finish the
Wallahi, in
Quran
the
every
UK?
3. I'm not talking about the UK. I'm talking about general. Okay,
General. Yes, yes. Okay.
maybe the life here in the UK it's a bit fast. This is why a lot of people are busy and they don't have enough time to recite 10 juz. But at least make it 3 juz. So you finish the Quran in 10 days. But
Yep.
minimum, I said minimum 1 juz every day.
Mm. Okay. Jazakumullah khairan, Sheikh. So minimum 1 juz, and the Huffaz should try to do more, 3 juz, and as you say, even more is even better.
Yeah.
In terms of like, uh, in terms of hifth, so memorizing, so the student that's memorizing the Quran, what time of day do you recommend that they should memorize, and how? I'm assuming that the number of pages depends on the child, right, or the individual or the adult.
Yeah.
But what's the best time that you would recommend for a student of hifth to memorize?
I recommend the best time for me to memorize or recite or revise the Quran after Fajr. This is the best time. And also the time before sleeping. Unless if you are very, very tired, you have busy days. So the best time will be after Fajr. Because after Fajr is very quiet and pleasant time.
Okay.
And this is the time of rizq. The rizq is not only about food and drink and money. No, it's about knowledge as well.
Allah. Definitely. Jazakumullah khairan.
Really, I know a
Also,
lot of
Sheikh,
people. Yes.
Ramadan.
Yes.
Sorry, go for it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people they prefer to have a rest and sleep a bit after Fajr, and I used to be one of them, but really it doesn't make a big difference. And if you stay awake and use this time, it will make a massive difference.
Okay. Definitely. Yeah, I think there's definitely blessing in, as you say, the rizq is after Fajr, and a lot of our rizq goes in sleeping, as you say. So
Yeah.
yeah, Ramadan is round the corner, and many Huffaz will be preparing to lead the Taraweeh prayers.
Yeah.
What general advice do you have for the Huffaz that lead the Taraweeh prayers, and also generally in terms of spending time in Ramadan? Because a lot of people will watch this closer to Ramadan, so
Yeah.
it's
Now
a
it's
bit of a
only
big
about.
question, but
Don't leave it too late. Yeah, don't wait till Ramadan and then start revising and preparing yourself for Taraweeh just days before Ramadan. This is a mistake. So you have to finish now at least 3 or 5 khatma before Ramadan. If you do that, you will find it very easy for you. But don't wait. Don't let it till the last hours. And then you will struggle. Some people struggling
yep.
because they are working, and they lead Taraweeh in Ramadan at night. So it will be very tiring for them to revise and work and then lead Taraweeh. So prepare yourself from now. Don't wait.
Okay.
And have a good company. It doesn't have to. You don't have to have Sheikh listen to you. Any friend, your wife, your child, anyone listening to you, it's very, very important and will helpful, inshallah. Will be helpful.
Okay. So you're saying it's more important to it's good to practice by yourself, but it's probably better to read to someone.
It's very important. You learn, but someone has to check because you might make mistakes in hifz and you don't realize about it, and you will keep repeating the same mistake. And then definitely when you lead Taraweeh, you will make the same mistake. So it's better for you, anyone to listen to you. It's the best way to have a sheikh. This is the best way. But if you don't have a sheikh, or you have a sheikh but he's not free and listen to you every day, anyone can listen to you.
I think a lot of people they make this. It's like, for example, gives them this excuse that, oh, my teacher's too busy, so I can't read. But it doesn't work like that, right? You can read to anyone.
Yes, yes. Yeah, this is why I'm saying that the company around you, the environment is very, very important. And choose your friend, choose your sahib.
Okay.
And we have called words. It's called as-sahibu sahib. As-sahib sahib mean he will pull you, he will push you. But choose where you go when when your friend will push you. Yeah.
Inshallah. Sheikh, mashallah, tabarakallah, you have many students all over the world, all over the UK. Mashallah, tabarakallah. And so you have a lot of experience in teaching and teaching different levels. I know you teach Hifth, and then you teach the qira'at, you teach the poems and everything, mashallah. What advice do you give to young teachers, for example, myself, or young teachers that are upcoming? You know, what advice do you give to teachers that are teaching these sort of things, Hifth, Tajweed, Mutun, this kind of thing? For myself first.
For myself as well. If I advise myself first. The first advice is I have to ask myself first why I'm learning, why I'm teaching. This is the most important thing. I'm learning the Quran for a reason, and the time I'm using to learn the Quran is my life. So my life is time, and everyone's life is time, and we have to ask ourselves first, why do I try to memorize the Quran and learn the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This is very, very important. Maybe some people, they will say, I want to memorize the Quran to be a knowledgeable person, or to be a alim. Or some people, they will think, I'm talking about the believers. Some people, they will say, I want to be close to Allah by learning the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His words, because this is His message to me. The Quran is the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to me, to you, to every Muslim. So when I'm learning the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I want to be close to Allah. I want Allah to love me by learning His words, because I love it. I love Allah and I love His words. So this is why I'm trying to memorize the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also I want my parents, because this is type of bir al-walidayn. One of the actions you should, because people, they think, or most people, they think about the dua and also sadaqah, and they don't recognize, or they don't think about this matter, this action. Learning the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your parents will get the benefit by this. And a lot of hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that the parents, they will come Yawm al-Qiyamah, they will have special crown, special clothes, and they will ask why we didn't do something like to deserve this reward, and the reward will be because of their son or their daughter. So I have to ask myself first why I'm memorizing the Quran. I want to have the company of the Quran. I want the Quran to be my sahib, to be with me in my life, because the Quran will change your life. Quran will give you another life. So to have the blessing of the company of the Quran in your life, and also in your grave, and also in Yawm al-Qiyamah. It's very, very important. So you have to ask yourself, why do I memorize the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This is the first of all. And the second thing is the time. The time is not enough. Our life is not really a long life. Our life is short, and it's not enough to learn everything. So start with the most important thing first, and then the important things, and then whatever you want after that, it's up to you. But start with the important knowledge. Don't just use your time for the social media and Facebook and football and whatever. No, your time is not enough for this nonsense. Focus now at the beginning of your life because you don't know how long is your life. So you use your time, use your life to have the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by memorizing the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And really, you will, if you have the company of the Quran, you will have the peace and the happiness in your life till you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan, Sheikh. That's very, very interesting. I just want to ask a follow-on question. I know you mentioned that it's very important that we know or we recognize why we are memorizing or why we are reading the Quran, why we are teaching. In terms of like intention is very important. How does one keep his intention straight and firm? Because shaitan is always there, and your mind is always changing. So how do we stay firm on a correct intention? What's your advice?
My advice is always refresh your intention. You always, when you sit alone, when you are alone, speak to Allah, especially when you pray at night. If you pray 2 rak'ahs or even in normal salawat, just mention that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh Allah, I do that for you. Even if people talk about me, say that and have this feeling in your heart. And even if you have something, because we are weak, we are human being, so we can make mistakes like this. So if you have this feeling, the fault feeling or the wrong feeling, just correct it. It's called tajdeed al-niyyah. So no, my intention is not this. Is not about people. Because the reward for the believers is not going to be in dunya. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless them, will grant them from His blessings, but it's not the reward. The reward will be in akhirah. So look forward for the reward to be in Jannah, inshallah, when you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not now. Now ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from His bounties and from His to grant you from His blessings, but not the reward. And don't look forward to get the reward for learning the Quran or learn the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in dunya. No, the reward must be in akhirah. And I meant the intention for you to look forward to get the reward in akhirah, not in dunya. For the fame and people, they talk about, he's the one has very nice voice, he's perfect reciter. Don't care about this, because people really doesn't matter. And even if people talk about you in nice way or even bad way, it doesn't make any difference in your life.
Wallahi. That's very, very jazakumullah khair. I'm really happy we're doing this. I'm learning a lot, alhamdulillah, already. And I've never heard from that angle what you mentioned, which is we can ask for the bounties and the blessings, but the reward we should always ask for the hereafter.
Yes.
Yani, there's a difference, right? As you say.
Yeah. No. Okay. And a lot of hadith, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned the believer will get his reward in akhir. Sorry. And even when he have the meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will cover him. No one can hear him. No one can hear him, I meant. So Allah will remind him about some of his sins. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell him, سَتَرْتُ عَلَيْكَ فِي الدُّنْيا وَأَغْفِرُهَا لَكَ الْيَوْمِ. I covered it for you in dunya, and I will forgive it for you today. So this is very, and then he will ثم يؤتى صحيفته أو صحيفة حسناته. And then he will get the record of his hasanat. So the hasanat will be in akhirah, not in dunya. Okay. Or the reward, I meant the reward of the hasanat.
Yep. Inshallah. نسأل الله القبول والإخلاص. It leads me on to another subtopic, which is, I know you mentioned that we shouldn't, for example, read the Quran, and there's the hadith which says the Qari will come on the Day of Judgment and but he used to recite the Quran to impress the people, and then he won't, he'll be punished for this. But as Allah protect us. But there's also a hadith which says, for example, beautify your voices with the Quran.
Yes.
So how do we sort of put the two together? Like you want to make your voice beautiful, you want to impress people by making your voice beautiful for the Quran, but then at the same time, you can't do it for the people. So what's your sort of understanding and comments around that, please?
Make the intention for you when you recite the Quran to please Allah. Because the Prophet ﷺ, when he was listening to Abu Musa al-Ash'ari and he told him, لقد أوتيت مزمارا من مزامير آل داود, and other Sahaba like Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and others, they used to recite the Quran alone, not to impress people, just to get the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's because the Quran is beautiful, you should recite the Quran in a beautiful way. There is no problem for this. And when you recite the Quran from your heart, because I know some people will agree with me, some won't, but I insist to talk about it. I am determined to talk about this matter, the matter of Maqaamaat. And people now, they consider this as a knowledge, something they have to learn it. No, I'm saying no, it's not a knowledge, and it's because it's a knowledge, but it's not ilm nafi'. Because if you learn the maqamat for the words Saba and Sika and other names, this is names of maqamat musiqiyya, the music levels of the tunes. The tunes, he has names. So why you consider these names when you recite the Quran and focus with the level when you recite the ayahs of Jannah or the hellfire? No, this is not acceptable at all, because this is the words for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you shouldn't ever mention these words when you recite the Quran, because you will be asked in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about this. It's called Maqaamaat musiqi. When you recite the Quran, because I know I have friends, they learned Maqaamaat and they always argue with me and say, anyone when he recites, he will recite with maqam. Yes, okay, no problem, but don't take it as a knowledge. Even if you learn some of it just to improve your recitation, that's fine, but don't consider it as a knowledge or something you need to take courses to learn. Because and don't focus on the names of this tune and this tune. This is not acceptable. I don't think it's something we should respect and follow in our life regarding reciting the Quran. And I know a lot of
that was actually going to be.
I think the sound.
Sorry, yeah, you were saying.
You heard me late. A lot of ulama, they talk about it. A lot of ulama. It's not my opinion. It's the opinion of a lot of ulama. They said it's not allowed. It's not allowed to mention the names of the maqamat when you recite the Quran. Don't ever say this is Saba, this is this and this and this. No, it's not acceptable.
Okay. Sheikh, correct me if I'm wrong, but is the Maqamat most popular in Egypt, or are there other countries as well which is very popular?
No, it's not. Yeah, Egypt is famous. Egypt is famous in Maqamat, but in Turkey and different countries, they are very famous as well.
Okay. Sheikh, I know we're short of time. Can I ask you one more question, if that's okay?
2 minutes, yes. Yeah, inshallah.
2 minutes, inshallah. I attended your course on Waqf wal Ibtida, and it's something that I personally make a lot of mistakes in, because I'm from a non-Arab background. I think that's the problem. And we haven't been brought up with Arabic. What would you mention in terms of Waqf wal Ibtida, and especially for students that are becoming Hafidh and learning the Quran? What should they, how can they sort of improve their Waqf wal Ibtida knowledge?
Yeah, at least at the beginning, stick with the science of Waqf wal Ibtida, because the ulama, they have a lot of efforts putting the signs of the Waqf and Ibtida. So when you يعني not the Ibtida, the Waqf يعني meant to stop on the correct word, not to stop on the words it will give a wrong or incomplete meaning. So this is the first step. The first step is stick with the signs. And sometimes the ayah is long and you can't reach the sign of Waqf before you run out of breath. We have some help, some signs help you when you to stop on the correct word and to start the correct word as well. So Waqf to stop and Ibtida to start again. So the first step is to stick with the signs, and second one to listen to the shuyukh, listening to the reciters, how they stop, how they start, especially shuyukh المتقن الشيوخ. يعني some shuyukh you should really listen to them, and because every ayahs يعني short ayahs, long ayahs, you need to learn how to stop and how to start. If you stop on the word is not in sign of Waqf, you go back. You go back with the first noun or first verb or the last waw or last fa or last اسم موصول الذين الذي or التي. In some cases is not acceptable, but mostly the nouns start with the nouns or start with the verbs. How do I know the verbs and the nouns? Try to learn which one is the verb, which one is the noun, and then the signs. I think this will help. And also attending courses of Waqf and that. Really, it's because people focus on the tunes and the rules of tajweed, like أحكام النون الساكنة والتنوين, أحكام الميم الساكنة المدود, and etc., which is very important to learn these rules. But also الوقف والابتداء. Most of the mistakes I heard from the students in the UK, it's وقف والابتداء. Most of the mistakes. Some people they start like يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة, and then they start والحجارة عليها ملائكة غلاظ, which is funny meaning. It's not correct meaning at all. And also يخرجون الرسول وإياكم, and then someone will start وإياكم أن تؤمنوا, means don't ever believe in Allah. This is crazy if to start with the words وإياكم أن تؤمنوا. So we have to focus on this type of knowledge العلم, يعني علم الوقف والإبداع. It's very, very important and very relative to the rules of tajweed.
Okay, and any recommendations which Qurra we should listen to?
والله أنا أعرف قراء.
For Waqf والابتداء?
like I love to listen to Sheikh al-Manshawi, and others they love to listen to Sheikh al-Husari, and Mashari is good, يعني Mashari is good, and other قراء, a lot of قراء they are ما شاء الله متقنين. So we don't have any excuse. And now if you open your computer and type the surah, you will find a list of maybe 100 qari, 100 reciters. So alhamdulillah, in our time now, a lot of qurra, they have itqan, mashallah. So listen a lot, and you will get, inshallah, you will get it. طيب,
inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan, Sheikh. Really and truly, we can probably go on for another 1 hour, one and a half hours, but I know you need to go now. So inshallah, maybe we should do a part 2 at some point in the future, because I still have a lot of questions that I had for you. But inshallah, some other time. I really appreciate you taking your time out from your busy schedule to do this, and I hope the people. I've definitely learned something, alhamdulillah, and I hope the people benefit as well. Jazakumullah khairan, Sheikh. Any final words?
Jazakumullah khairan. May Allah bless you. May Allah accept and reward you dunya and akhirah.
Ameen. You too, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan wa iyyak. I will speak to you. We have our lesson tonight, right? At 5 p.m.
Inshallah. Yalla, assalamu alaikum.
Okay, I'll speak to you later. Wa alaikum assalam. But yeah.